that don't know how to be pros get evicted. A woman could bear you, break you, take you. Now it's time to rhyme. Can you relate to a sister's open up to make you holler and scream?
It's kind of about the looks you get. Me and my friends, I used to play basketball, and we would go to the park all the time. We'd go play, and you know, there's always guys there, always a whole bunch of guys over there. And as soon as you walk into the gym, walk into the park, people are looking at you like it's such a crazy thing that girls are coming to play basketball. And you know, they start their hooting and hollering. We ask them to play. They think we can't play for anything and we're just messing around, and then when we start to play, we kick their asses. And then it's a whole different story. So that's kind of where, you know, you're getting discriminated against before they're even looking at our skill, just because we're girls. But we can play, and we prove it.
Manly. Dyke.
A joke.
Weak. Boring.
Worse than males.
Dumb.
Try hard.
Masculinity and femininity. It's basically society's roles of how a male and a woman should be.
I think that masculinity is like traditionally perceived as macho, or like I don't know. I don't want to say manly because that like is defining the word with a really similar word, but just very strong and brave, courage, I guess, like in the traditional sense. Like I don't really go by those binary standards when it comes to gender and masculinity.
The definition of femininity to me means obviously being a woman, and I would say that being a woman, women are strong, independent, I would say, and they're not afraid to say what they feel.
Okay, so masculinity is what makes a male a male. So I guess it scientifically might have a little to do with more testosterone, but overall just what makes male male and what makes him different from a female.
I think of strong when I think of masculinity.
So femininity, I would say, is qualities that are normally associated with women. So on that side, it would be like caring, maybe a little more timid, more just being the supporter of the family and caring for the children.
I would not say that females lose their femininity when they're physically stronger.
To me, like, them being tougher, them being athletic, if anything, it makes them more of a woman. Like, they're stronger.
Well, I hope for a day when the society can stop judging a woman based on her physique.
When it comes to women being, we'll say, larger and stronger, hell no, that don't make them less of a woman.
So I think society says that yes, that does take away from your femininity if you have bulging muscles or you're really fit. But I think as a woman, it shouldn't take away from yourself. It should kind of build you up and show that you're strong in something.
I think gender discrimination in sports often starts when we're really young. Oftentimes in elementary school, the boys would play sports, they would go play basketball or football, and the girls would often be told to just go play like fairy tale games or not really anything requiring athleticism.
I think that gender discrimination comes from a need for power, and I think it comes out of fear a little bit.
Our world's still evolving from the woman staying at home, taking care of the kids, and the man going out doing the work.
It's definitely societal. Even here at Marquette, about to get a little shady, you have to pay $100 for season tickets to go to the men's team. However, the women's team is free. And not only is it free, sometimes they give out free stuff just so they can get more people to come to the women's game. So it's definitely a societal thing. We don't get this just from no one cares about women's sports or no one thinks that they're as talented, because some of the women, girls team at Marquette, did better than some of the men, boys team at Marquette. So no, it's a societal thing. So
I think it's important for girls to embrace their femininity. I was kind of raised, my mom really liked to instill confidence in us. You can do anything you want to do.
Being an athlete is probably one of the best things for a young girl to do. It teaches her strength, teaches her time management skills, teaches her how to be confident in herself, teaches her how to deal with the failures, successes.
But I think with the role models we have today, female athletes such as Carly Lloyd, Hope Solo, Serena Williams, the women who are really making a difference and setting the stage for younger female athletes to have someone to look up to and to give them someone to aspire to be.
Is there a solution? Is there a way that we can get this going all together personally? People's personal biases will always be there.
I would definitely say that there are steps that can be taken to help to minimize gender discrimination in sports.
It'll take generations for it to stop.
If you can get over that idea of there's a woman playing as opposed to there's an amazing, talented individual playing the game, then I think this can get better.
I do not watch any female sports.
I don't watch a lot of female sports. I'll watch them in the Olympics or when the women's soccer team gets to a high stage.
I do watch female sports. I love the U.S. women's FIFA soccer team. Abby Wambach.
I watch female swimming.
I have to sit here and go to one of those 1,000-number channels to see a good softball game.
I think it's crazy, like I also like basketball, but I always seem to only see men's basketball on TV.
I don't think it's very publicized as far as like ESPN, for example.
Equal pay is a big issue if we're talking about the whole grand scheme of things, but it's also a huge issue in the sports world. You know, right now, the U.S. women's soccer team is suing the U.S. Soccer Federation for wage discrimination.
Female athletes should definitely be paid the same as men because, I mean, they're putting in the same hours. If it's like any other job, it's hours being paid.
I think that with money, it doesn't necessarily need to be a whole gender thing. I think it just needs to rely on how well your team is doing.
Title IX is educational reform that was passed to give females the equal opportunity in the educational setting.
Title IX has probably been one of the best things that has happened for women.
As a female, I think, of course, Title IX is important. Like, we deserve equal opportunity as men.
With the implementation of Title IX, we have begun to cut some male sports like wrestling because finance gets messed up.
But then hearing about that, how they had to cut another sport in order to provide for a girls' sport, you know, that doesn't seem so fair.
I don't think that cutting male sports is fair.
I think all sports are important, especially if somebody has a passion in them. Like, if you need a women's soccer team and you have to cut out a wrestling team, granted, that is unfair, because I wouldn't be a feminist if I told you women deserve everything. We want equal rights.
So my whole life, ever since I was like 7, I have been a competitive swimmer. And I would definitely say, like, once you get into like the higher levels of any sport, you start adopting kind of a physique for that sport, a very, you know, muscular, very, you know, defined. People can tell what sport you play by the time you're about 15. For me, I was already tall to start with. I had huge shoulders, extremely muscular arms, you know, very slim hips, barely any boobs at all throughout high school. And there's this group of guys who just thought it was the funniest thing to just comment on it.
Any response to recent comments about your girlish figure?
Are you serious? Removing your body hair gives you an edge in the pool. How about your love life?
How has your weight gain affected your mobility? I don't know what you're talking about. Have you heard the controversy over your helmet hair?
Get ready to see some great biceps, tiny tanks, and more.
I wonder if his dad said to him when he was younger, listen, you're never going to be a Looker, you're never going to be a Beckham, so you have to compensate for that.
He really does have the kind of body international judges love.
Could you give us a twirl and tell us about your outfit?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man.
Can you give us a twirl and tell us about your outfit?
A twirl, like...
A twirl, a pirouette. Here we go.
The media's crazy sometimes. You know, you look at our male athletes, they're superheroes. They're larger than life. They're, you know, everything guy wants to be. You know, we talk about their skill level, how amazing they are. Then we look at the other side, look at our female athletes. They're, you know, they're there, you know, they're just, basically they're just there.
So much in society for women is about appearance, and you have to look this way, you have to look like this person, this celebrity. So I think that's where a lot of it is geared towards, but personally I think that's almost silly that they would ask questions like that.
I think there's a discrepancy in the way that the media covers male and female athletes because of the discrepancy that media covers males and females, and like in magazines or in movies or anything else like that, there are a lot of stereotypes that people still hold true about women or believe about women, and that shapes the way they present women, and so that carries over into the sports world, carries over into everything.
In terms of the kind of questions they ask, I think those are just still based on the stereotypes. You know, girls have it might be more looks driven, just because, maybe even just because of the guy that's interviewing her. But I do think it's nice to see more women dominating the sports media, such as like Erin Andrews and others, but we do need more big names.
Lingerie football.
I've watched my fair share of lingerie football, let me tell you. But, I mean, honestly, if it just exposes women. I saw a picture of it the other day, actually, on, like, Twitter. It was just chicks just, the shoulder pads are, like, up to here. You know, I don't know.
I think lingerie football is a joke. Sorry to anyone who participates in it.
It's weird when you're in such a male-dominated society, because I want to sit here and say, yeah, they can go out and play in thongs. Cool, but what man is going to sit here and respect us if that's what we have to do? It's not fair that we can't just go out and play in draws and stuff like that. We can't just go out and play in scantily, like, damn near nothing. It's not fair that we can't do that, but look at the society we live in. A lot of feminists are so caught up in this alternate reality where it's like, oh yeah, she can wear whatever the hell she wants, and she deserves that respect. Let's just be honest. We can't do that.
I have always known in the back of my head that people like to watch boys' sports better. They're not going to come watch the women's soccer game if there's a men's basketball game at Marquette. That's just not going to happen. So that does kind of bother me, but at the end of the day, you just got to kind of focus on yourself and what your team's doing.
A solution, gender discrimination in the world, gender discrimination in sports, it's going to take some time. It's not something that we can just say, voila, and then just end it. So it's just one step at a time, and I think it starts with really changing the narrative. Stop teaching our young kids that girls are supposed to do this and guys are supposed to do this. It's the 21st century. Let's be a little bit progressive.
Female athletes are role models.
Courageous.
Empowered.
Confidence.
Inspiring.
Badass.
Inspiration.
Determined.